fascinating project around promoting challenging social taboos and promoting female hygiene. Lindsey, what impressed you about that?
I think this was a really impressive project because the whole issue of period poverty, attitudes to women and girls, particularly young women in this context, it's a global issue, and it's something which, I've always found very shocking that, even in the UK, not so much the taboos, but certainly the sort of practical access to, affordable pads and other things is still a major issue, in this society. So, very well done for actually saying, come on, let's try and do something about this. And let's also try and do something about this which is ecologically friendly as well. So I thought that the fact they're tackling it was really interesting and was great. They've obviously thought very carefully about the whole thing. So that idea that this is about taboos, this is about, practical supply of products. It is also about the ecological issues and how do we do that in a way that is, isn't just going to make the problem for the planet worse. So I thought the holistic nature of the way they were approaching it was really, really impressive. And obviously very, very much needed. So, excellent idea.
Lalit, what were your thoughts?
Very similar. Also coming from the, let us say, Indian background, and I am familiar with the rural area and the particular region he has been talking, he and his team. There have been, these are very deep-rooted cultural issues and practices. So, and very unfortunate part of this is, so they have turned into a belief system. And what they have not been able to realize, these belief systems are causing major health hazard. So that is like, it's a very direct relation about the whole actual well-being, even the physical well-being of the people in those areas, in those communities. Particularly, there has been a less exchange awareness about these issues. So this talks about not so healthy outlook and the prevailing practices and the connectivity of these communities and these people with the mainstream understanding, at least particularly about the health and hygiene element. And if that is not taken care, it affects the whole system. If you are not well, your ability to do any work and earn some livelihood possibility and then take decisions even for your family members, I think it is linked to all of that. So this kind of awareness to bring in these people is somewhere key. So this project is quite, as the name says, I would fully agree, this is quite spot on about these areas, about these issues. And I was quite shocked. I mean, in a way, I'm aware, but which kind of solutions people have been using there, which are, great health hazards. So something towards this has to be done. And again, like we talked about the previous project, this is not a simple product intervention. A product is just a vehicle. It is just helping, but we are talking about the whole social transformation, the whole understanding about an issue. So it has to be again approached from a very holistic perspective and not only from a product point of view. Otherwise, it may not easily work well if it is only seen from one or two point of view. But if the team is committed, if there are people, if they can put behind their whole weight. So I also feel this, they should keep the element of maybe the bit more diversified team. I have a feeling that
can we come to the sort of areas for development maybe in a moment?
Sure.
I also like their model where they were facilitators. They thought about what materials, how the products could be made at a local level with local materials and with the skills, etc., available, so that they were creating a model which was self-sustaining, could grow, was not dependent on some sort of central supply or whatever. So I thought that was also a very good element of how they were approaching things. And obviously it involved a lot of research, over years. And so a lot of thought and input seem to have gone up into this project. So in terms of areas to develop, Lalit, you were starting to talk about that.
Yeah, I feel they could contact more some local NGOs. This is my impression. Perhaps that area needs a bit more networking or being in touch and working together as a local team. A bit more connection with the local NGOs, particularly some women group. That may be helpful in this kind of practices. And in India also nowadays, there are many groups, projects, quite a lot. So these things are also happening rather successfully in many parts of India. These issues are everywhere. So, but there are many NGOs, groups, people, organizations behind them, and they are working well. So I think taking some clue or more example from them would be helpful. So I'm not sure how well that layer has been tapped into or learning lessons from them has happened. Some women group connections would be very, very helpful, rather needed. You can't do perhaps much. And I would still say they were talking about some sanitary napkins of still a particular type, some oxygen, some particular name was being given, because still the clothing based or cloth based was considered taboo or washing, or they cannot be dried out in the open. I would still say that if they can find a way, it is again a very communication, like a communication exercise, a strategy to bring a transformation or a change or a healthy practice. It is still in that range. So let us not take unnecessarily a very long route that we still go ahead with disposable things. India is facing a lot of issues. And if these issues reach that too in a far, can you imagine in that case, like if this pollution and these issues reach in a relatively remote village area where they don't have the waste management capacity. So we are creating one more issue of a new type in those areas. So I think they should go ahead with the cloth one and empower people, women. We have there here in Auroville also. There are ladies involved. They are teaching. So there is an employment, there is a skill, there is a distribution, and everybody has to learn and respect that these are the natural process and cycle. So if they have to find a place either to dry or educate men and other people to see. So this is very much part of the game. We should not wish it away. Rather, we should plan towards it.
I wonder that there isn't a sort of national network of people working in these areas, so that there's collaboration across India around this. Yeah. Lindsey, what were your thoughts?
No, I mean, I agree. I think, they're talking about a change of an ecosystem. And so absolutely plugging into where other people are doing things really well and learning from it. It's a sort of great phrase, isn't it? There's no such thing as a new idea. Actually what we're all doing is since borrowing ideas and creating adaptation, mixing them up, whatever. So I certainly think there are lots and lots of projects in India, also in lots of other parts of the world where women are making pads of different types, and there are, it doesn't take much to find them on the internet where, you can do those sorts of things. So I agree. Trying not to reinvent the bits that you don't need to reinvent is, I guess, what I would urge them to do, because this is a very big project. And so what you want to be doing is, again, a bit like I've been saying with some of the others, is find the bit that they're really going to focus on. And again, I suppose for me, the bit where I sort of ended up slightly struggling, again, was how far they were seeing them there, exactly where they saw their role, I suppose. Was their role about enabling local groups to get going? So was it more of a sort of, almost like a sort of social franchise model where, they were finding a local person, probably a local woman, who wanted to sort of take this and lead it in their community, and they were providing, if you like, the resources and the know-how behind that in order to enable other people to do the direct work on the ground? Was that the core of what they were doing?
I think that was.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, in that case, then I suppose what I would say then is, how do you bring in everybody else, and how do you make sure you focus on that bit and you don't end up spending too much time doing direct delivery in whatever way yourself? The other bit that I was a bit concerned about was what the business model actually was, because I get there is money and grant funding in order to get these things going. But I suppose I, again, was wanting, I think they possibly need to spend a little bit more time trying to work out whether the service they're going to provide to the community, is that something which has always got to be grant funded, or is that something where, there's going to be a a small percentage that comes back from the local groups. So I wasn't quite clear there. And again, I would just say that because I think this idea has such potential to explode, then, work out which way you're going so that you actually from the beginning are setting it up in a way that can grow and can be sustainable. But, amazing, I think, really, really brilliant.
Great. So any last thoughts? I think we've covered quite a lot of the issues. Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks very much, panel, and thank you, spot on, and good luck. And I hope this has been useful, and any further help in terms of making linkages or whatever we can do, we'd be very willing. So thank you again, and thank you, Lindsey and Lalit, and good luck.